Hello everyone, Zane here and welcome to another FFXIV video and the first guild video of 2024. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make guild with your botanist and miner of any level. So this is going to be level 1 to level 90. Now remember, like any other guild video, make sure you do your research before selling anything to make sure that you guys aren't wasting your time gathering something that's not worth it. Okay? And also remember that this is going to take a little bit of time, patience, and a little bit of tenacity. Now, if you guys want early access to my guild videos, consider becoming a YouTube member or Patreon supporter. Link for the Patreon is in the description down below. So let's look at my retainers. I have made over slightly 7 million gil, and this took me about 72 hours, give or take. This retainer here, we sold none other than crystals, shards, and clusters. As you can see, this one was from the 5th all the way up to the 8th. This retainer started earlier from, I would say, I think the 1st to the 4th. And as you can see, I was selling them around 500 a piece. This is the best way to combat bots because they are selling them for a lot more, like thousands upon thousands of quantities. So with you, a person with an actual brain, can actually do this with less instead of more, because people buy them in lower quantities than higher quantities. So that's how you combat the bots. Now this one here, this is specifically just earthbreak aethersand. I was using this to kind of pad my wallet. And this is of course at endgame. So if we look on the market board on my server, shards lose their effectiveness after a realm reborn, except for fire. Fire is continuously used in Stormblood for ingredient materials. After that, it's just crystals for everybody else, and then clusters. So if you look at fire shards, even though they are pretty low priced, it's the quality or the quantity that basically jacks up their final price. So when it comes to shards, definitely try to sell them in quantities of 1,000, since a lot of people will be using these from 1 to 50. And please undercut by 1 kill. Any more than that, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Ice is a good alternative for making ingots if you don't want to do with blacksmith with fire. Okay, my opinion, stick with 500. But if you want to go to 1,000 to experiment, go right ahead. But these are going to take some time. Usually overnight, they sell the best for me anyway. Here's wind. Earth. Lightning. Water. And as you can see, the more useful ones like lightning, wind, and water are higher priced than the rest. Now going into the crystals. Fire crystals is probably one of the most best ones because of the fact that people use culinarium for script farming. This is where I would stick with the 500 a piece. Ice as an alternative to fire if you're doing ingots and stuff. Wind, which is the most used crystal of them all, in my opinion. Earth, which you get the most if you're doing earthbreak aethersand. And then you have the lightning. Make sure that you have your crystals and clusters stocked up for Dawn Trail, and then sell anything you have a surplus of, like I did. And water crystals. Now going into the clusters, which is basically for endgame. Fire, which is 185, which is not bad. Ice clusters, which is absolutely garbage, so don't bother selling them. It's just not worth it. But sell them if you have a surplus of it. Wind clusters, which is one of the most expensive ones on my server. As you can see, the 500 is more dominant than the others. Earth crystals, which you get a lot of if you're doing Earthbreak. Again, 500. lightning, which is used for mostly for pots and tinctures, which is why they're so high up. And of course your water, same thing, tinctures and food. So look on your marker board, see which ones are worth getting over the others. But honestly, I would do all of them just to make sure that you have more eggs and more baskets. Now, for your shards, if you have a free company house, apartment, a free company room, or a personal house, or mixture of all of them, you can do gardening for your shards. By default, you have 50 yield, but I think you can go up to 150. In the gather log, as a botanist, you need an offhand. You can get the seeds that grow each element. I really wish they would do this for crystals too, but shards can be grown. You can get the soils. I think it's through, yes, the coring with the miner. These are going to be shroud topsoil, which is going to give you better yield, which is 6 to 9 a.m. right here. I think you only can get one per gathering attempt, but your retainers can also get these as well. I think you can trade in unidentifiable items in Heaven's Ward to get these as well. I know you can get them through the Dadnerian ones, but I think you can get them through the shroud ones as well. This will increase your yield if you want more. Now, large can hold 3 plots, medium 2, and small can hold 1. Now, if we go inside, you'll have these little pots for singles. 4 for large, 3 for medium, and 2 for small. Apartments can hold 2, and free company rooms, which is through that door, can hold 2 as well. So let me show you guys exactly where to find those. So in the housing districts, you'll have the resident caretaker area. Just look for this little icon here. Go to the housing merchant. Exterior garden. You'll find the deluxe gardens for 48,000. Trust me, it's a worthy investment. So you're going to get 3 of those for large, 2 for medium, 1 for small. Over here, material supplier, you will find the soil and fish meal for reducing the amount of time it takes. It takes 18 hours for the shards to grow, 9 hours with the fish meal, but you need to do it every hour on the hour in order to fertilize them. And then you have the soils here. The pots, the small ones, under others, but these ones cost you 1,200 apiece. So you have your pick of Riviera, Glade, or Oasis. Alright, so they will not wither because it takes less than 24 hours for them to grow. But that is where you guys will get your pots and gardens for the shards. Okay, now the other thing that I want to mention, that if you have a private estate or with a friend, you can see here this one's hearted because that's my free company member's house. In order for you to share that house, go to the housing section under social, estate settings, private estate, shared estate settings, new tenant, pick a friend on your friends list, select them, and then give the garden options. This gives you an extra 8 plots to use your gardens, and also I believe you also can use these little small pots inside. So you get an extra 8 as well. And then you can evict them when you're done. Just like that. So if you have, like I said, a private estate, use them for your friends to grow even more. Now you also can use your retainers to get them too. Since a Realm Reborn, it's not going to be too hard to cap them out in terms of the amount you get. So botanist and miner can only get crystals and shards. You can't get clusters. So at the max is 120 for quantity, and it takes about 40 minutes at the max. For crystals, I think you need a average gathering of 90, and this will also give you 120 and 40 minutes as well. And of course, that is capped, regardless of how far into the game that you are. So you guys can get these as well. It'll take one venture, and you also must unlock this by doing the retainer venture quest in your city state after you have a retainer. I think it's around level 17. I'll make sure to link the video for that. But ventures can be gotten through beast tribes, leaf quests, or even your grand company. Now, if you're going to gather them yourself, level 1 is where the shards appear. So as a fresh gatherer, as long as you're not in the free trial, you can sell these on the market board right off the bat. At level 30, you'll need the main hand tool of a botanist and the offhand tool of the miner to get the crystals. Now, if you're in Heaven's Ward and beyond, you can do ephemeral nodes or ethereal reduction. These are up 4 times certain periods of the day. It will obviously tell you right here. And once the time is up, the nodes disappear. So make sure that you gather the items before the timer goes off. With level 50, you'll have your claw clusters. There's unspoiled, which won't disappear even though the timer is passed. And you also will get them through ethereal reduction or ephemeral nodes as well. You have at least 3 times for both botanist and miner in Mordona. Now, if you're an Endwalker, you have the luxury of having the relic tools, which has a buff that will give you a 20% increase to collector's intuition, which I'll go over in the ethereal reduction section of this video. But you only need the tool up to the point where it gives you the special ability. You don't have to complete it all the way. So keep that in mind. I'll make sure to link all available videos that I have to help you guys out a little bit better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to whatever ephemeral node is up and show you guys a rotation for the ethereal reduction. Now, luckily for us, the ephemeral node for the earthbreak aethersand items are up, so I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. So Sephora root is going to be for earthbreak. Now, if you have these available, which is an Endwalker, the collector's focus will jack up your intuition rate to 100%. By default, it hard caps at 40%, 60 with the relic tool. Scrutiny will increase the scour, meticulous, and brazen abilities to its max. In this case, 400 and 450, 350 and 550 respectively. These increase by your gatherer stats. This here increases as you get your perception up. And this will save yourself a gathering attempt. It only has a 25% chance of triggering. That's basically the cap. Collector's Focus is level 85, and it jacks you up to 100%. And then you would do Meticulous. Now, Collector's Standard triggers randomly, which gives you an increase. So you're going to do that twice, which gives you 1,000 of 1,000. And we got a gathering attempt saved thanks to this. So then we go ahead and gather once. And then you're going to use Asia's Words or Solid Reason, depending on what you're using. And if Eureka Moment triggers, which is Wise to the World, has a 50% chance of that happening, then you do Wise to the World to get back another gathering attempt. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. So then we just collect. And then use your high cordials to get some GP back. Now, those of you who do not have Collector's Focus available, you can be doing Scrutiny. And then you'll have a 40% chance of intuition triggering, or if you have the relic tool, 60. But because you'll have Collector's Focus at endgame, you don't have to worry about that. And luckily, it triggered. And sometimes it will do that too, which won't trigger. So then you're going to have to waste a gathering attempt. That's why it's better to have the relic tool than with not. But if you don't have that option, you're going to have to pray to RNG that you get lucky. So getting max collectability will give you max yield, with a chance of getting a bonus. So the lowest is going to be around 21 to 32. You always will get more crystals than clusters. But each item will have an element tied to it. If you get a bonus, you get double of everything. Okay, so that's how collectibles and ethereal reduction works. Now, if you want to remind yourself when something is going to spawn, you can set an alarm. By on a controller hitting the square button, pops up the set timer for next occurrence, or / alarm. Then you pick AM or PM, or if there's both, 1 AM and then 1 PM, and then set your reminder. Also make sure that you put a title or name to let you remember where exactly you will find the nodes. And then set. If you want, you can go into actions and traits under extras and find the alarm system as well. These will reset every time you log off, so you're going to have to reset them every time. Okay, so that is ethereal reduction and how to get your crystals and clusters and earthbreak aethersand at the same time. So if you look at the logs, so for root will be fire, for clay will be wind, palm chips will be fire, for miner, lunar quartz is earth, earthen quartz, earth as well. We have ghostly emerald rock for lightning. Water and ice is going to be for fisher, which I'll make sure to link the video for those as well. But if to find them, it's going to be spearfishing, which you unlock in the town of Mizu in Stormblood area. These guppies will be for ice, and if you catch 4 of them in the same node, and also you can find this one here, which will trigger after catching 4, will give you water. But if you want to get water specifically, then you're going to come to Authard, and then you're going to go to, I think it's going to be here. Yeah, these lump suckers will give you water, but they won't give you an obsolete aethersand. So if you just want the water, you can get them here. Also, if you just randomly get fish from spearfishing, you can desynthesize them for water as well. Now, if you're gathering your clusters and your shards, you're going to be using a couple of abilities. The 12's Bounty, the Giving Land, the traits. The enhanced 12's Bounty will extend to clusters, and also to crystals. And at level 71, you'll get an extra base yield increased by 1. You also have Nimia's Ward, which will give you an occasional increase to yield for certain items, including crystals. So basically, shards, clusters, and crystals will get a randomized increase as well. So you're going to want to level up your gatherers at least up to 81. So pick and choose which ones you want and focus on it. For me, I'm going to focus on water. So we get a gather yield +3 characteristics, which is good. So you're going to do 12's Bounty, Giving Land, which is on a 3-minute cooldown. Then if you want to do King's Yield 2, or whatever the button is equivalent, and then or Bountiful Yield 2 to increase your gain as well. But for GP's sake, I would just say just go with those abilities that I just did. So I got 11 on that one, 16 for that, 22 for that one, 14, 10, and 12. The highest I've seen was in the 30s, and that's the Giving Land ability. It'll give you random amounts. With the occasional, you get an increase thanks to the ward trait. But that is what I do in order to get the clusters from Dhona. You can also do that with the shards and also crystals if you have the abilities. Next is the Ishgardian Firmament, or the Ishgard Restoration. In order to unlock this, you must do the Litany of Peace main story quest, which is 3.3, Heaven's Ward story, in order to unlock the Firmament. So talk to the mission commander to access the diadem. This is for botanist, miner, and fisher. So here we are in the diadem. So you can see the weather has changed. There's going to be one for each element. So when the elements change, the corrupted sprites come out to play. You must do the compressed aether bar at the top. You must gather at least 40 times for that to fill to max. So every single time you gather with botanist or miner, it goes up. So every you do a cycle of 8 nodes, that will give you 1 full bar and just a little chip of the next one. So you're basically going to go through 8 nodes. Now remember, when the weather changes, the sprites disappear. So if you're in the middle of blasting one, it doesn't matter. You will lose the sprite, but you will not lose the aether. So keep that in mind. So I'll see you guys when I'm done with my cycle. Alright, so I got aether. Let's do this quick before the weather changes. And there we go. So we get a random element. There's a chance that you'll get all the elements, but it's at a lower quantity. So I got earth, which is honestly the least ones I want the most. So yeah, that's how you guys do it with the Asgard Firmament. So if you are doing this for the pterodactyl mount, which is 500,000 points for each job, you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So in conclusion, if you do not have these abilities here, next best thing to do, go to the diadem. You have access to all 3 just by killing the sprites and work on your pterodactyl mount. So like I said before, this took me like 24 hours to get 2 million kill, and then another 2-3 days to get the 7 million. My tip for earthbreak aethersand, stacks of 99 sell best. And anything left over, hoard or sell them as is. Since I don't think I looked them up on the market board, this is what my server looks like right now. If your server sells high and other servers sell low, go over there, buy them off, sell them on your server. Simple as that. And as you can see, stacks of 99 sold well. These used to be under 1,000, but now they definitely have gone up, which I'm very, very happy about. So if you can't get them yourself, flip them if possible. And I wish you guys all the luck with making the guild. And that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're new for more Final Fantasy XIV content and help with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel even further, consider becoming a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter. The link for that would be in the description down below, as well as the link to my Discord channel. I also want to give you a huge shout out to all my Patreon and YouTube members. So until next time, may forever walk in the glorious light of Lord Bahamut, and always remember to keep forging ahead. Take care.